Okay, House Beautiful had an article that came out and it listed the 22 countries that will give you citizenship if you buy a property. Now, there's a lot of stuff they left out in this article, and they didn't tell you about all the negatives and stuff you're going to run into when you get these properties. And there's so many different laws you have to look at. And also, I would tell you too, and I've told this many times, if you go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, look at the top part where it says flag theory, read that, try to memorize it. This will really give you some good things that you need to look for when you're looking for citizenship that a lot of people just don't look for. And it will keep you from making another international move and then having to move again and just waste lots of time. I had this happen to me when I went to Panama, okay, years and years ago. So you need to be thoroughly educated before you start investing in these properties, and you find out there's just all kinds of roadblocks that screw up your plans in other ways. Now, I'm only going to have time to do about 11 of these. I'm going to have two parts, one with the first 11 and the other one with the other 11, because I want to kind of dissect this a little bit. So I'll go through the first 11 today. Now, the first one they've got is the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Now, let me just tell you a couple of things here. The UAE does have a corporate income tax. They don't have an income tax now, but they do have a corporate income tax. But the problem with the UAE, they didn't mention all the negatives. I'm going to tell you about all the negatives so you'll know that this before you start, make an international move. If you go in the UAE to get citizenship, they don't mention anything about the time period it's going to take you. It's going to take you 30 years to get the passport, okay? Now, the UAE does not allow dual citizenship except for special circumstances, which I've mentioned before. In other words, if you are called upon by the Crown Prince or someone else in the upper echelon, and you're given a passport because you're a Roger Federer or a Tiger Woods or someone that has got some unbelievable talent, okay, then you don't have to drop your other passports. They actually get a lot better treatment than people that were... You have generations of Emiratis that grew up as citizens there. But you can keep your other passports if you get this this call, and they give you the passport as having this special talent. But I'm going to tell you, 99.9999% of the people out there are not going to be able to get dual citizenship. Okay. They also mentioned in the article that this was a citizenship program and not a residency type program. That's wrong. Okay. They don't have a fast track program in the UAE. And the chances of you getting the passport, if you went through all the steps, very, very hard. You're looking at 30 years, and that's when you can apply for the passport. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, okay? And you're going to have to relinquish all your other passports. And the third thing I don't like is the tax laws. They do have a corporate income tax there. They used to didn't. I used to live there many years ago, and I lived there for about 4 years, and they didn't have an income tax at that point. There are also other things. It's one of the most expensive places in the world to set up a company. The income taxes, there is no personal income tax, but they do have, again, the corporate income tax. But it's a very expensive place because they have all kinds of high licensing fees, high visa fees. They also have, if you set up a local company, you can own the local company now, but you still have to pay local service agent fees that can be through the roof. You can set up an offshore corporation and not even have to pay any of this stuff. You just paying a small corporation fee. It's amazing to me how many people are so ignorant on these facts, and they end up making such bad moves going to the UAE. I see so many people that go there, and I'm just thinking that person's not going to last. And they're usually there maybe at the most 2 or 3 years. Most people are there for 6 months, and they can't deal with it. If you ever go through the court system there, it'll drive you nuts. There is no free court system there. If you get in a lawsuit with the Emirati, just forget it. You're not going to win the case, okay? I already experienced that myself. You don't want to be moving to this place, I'm telling you. And you're going to have to learn fluent Arabic on top of the 30 years residency. So this is one that if I was you, I would skip, okay? I mean, definitely you don't want to pick this program. Next one is Turkey. Turkey has a fast track program. By the way, too, which I forgot to tell you, they mentioned here in the citizenship program with with the UAE is 545,000, but they mentioned citizenship. That's the residency. You're not going to get it. It can lead up to citizenship, but the chance of you getting it is slim to nil. Just trust me. This is not what you want to be choosing if you're looking to get a passport and you want to literally get your income taxes to zero. This is not the best place to go. There's so many other places to go. And again, read the flag theory that I've given to you. Now, the other one is Turkey. This is the second one. The process of gaining citizenship by way of the real estate investment in Turkey is much more straightforward in Dubai, and there are plenty of advantages in doing so. You must purchase property and agree that you won't sell the property for 3 years, according to the Republic of Turkey's investment office. Now, one thing that you won't see in a lot of these advertisements too, and I found this out from a lawyer there in Turkey, is you can't resell the property to someone else that wants citizenship. And I'm going to tell you something. You throw yourself out of a huge market, because the market's already pretty bad in Turkey. And also, you got another problem too. Is Turkey's their currency is one of the worst currencies. It has a continuous failing track record. You can go back over 60 years, and it continuously drops. And this is something else that you're going to have to put up with. But let me just say some things I don't like about Turkey. Okay. Turkey doesn't even have visa-free to the Schengen countries, and it's applying for EU membership, which I think is kind of a joke. On top of that, too, I've always told people, do not apply for citizenship if that country has bad tax laws. Why? Because if you end up moving to that country because maybe it didn't work out in another country that you had your business in, so you end up going back to Turkey because you got citizenship and you have all the rights that a regular citizen has by getting a fast-track program citizenship with Turkey. The problem is that you're going to be taxed heavily. They've got some really high brackets, and they tax worldwide income. Do you want that? I would say no. You can get passports that have a lot more visa-free travel, that have income, have no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. These are the type of places you want to look for. It does allow dual citizenship, but again, the taxes are awful. Do you really want a place like this? These are ones I would definitely mark off your list. I'm going to be getting some ones down here further down, and that are a lot better. Now, number 3 is Dominica. Now, Dominica does have a fast-track program. By the way, too, the Turkey program, you can go in that with a $400,000 investment. Dominica does allow dual citizenship. It can be had in the. You can get this passport by purchasing a government-approved project. You can find this list of projects in the Commonwealth of Dominica site. After your purchase has gone through, you then have to pay an additional fee to the government, which they say here starts at $75,000. More if you're bringing in any other dependents along with you, and you must also not sell your investment for 3 years after the citizenship is granted. Even with the extra government fees, this is still one of the smaller investments on the list. Now, remember, Dominica has some of the lowest of the visa-free travel of the fast-track programs. It also lost its visa-free status to the UK. It also does not have, it does have visa-free travel to the Schengen countries, but not Ireland. Ireland's part of the EU, but it's not part of the Schengen countries. And it doesn't have visa-free travel to Cyprus, which is also another EU country, okay? The tax laws here are not good enough for me. They do have a local income tax here, and there are better options. Also, your health care, in my opinion, is not good there. There's a lot better places where the health care is a lot better. And it just would not be on my choice of countries. The minimum investment requirement they show here is $200,000. Now, they do have a fast-track program here if you want to go that option. So they also do. They've got a residency by investment option here. In Dominica too. They don't bring that up very often. I would also consider that. There are most countries in the Caribbean that have the fast track program also have a residency by investment program. So you ought to be looking at that too, especially if you're willing to take off and move, and you're not wanting to stay where you're at and just get a fast track program, because the residency programs in some of these Caribbean countries, the visa-free travel is the same no matter how you get the passport, whether it's naturalization or fast track program. It doesn't make any difference. So these are some things I would be looking at there. Now, number 4 is St. Kitts and Nevis. This is one of my favorite. I like Antigua and Barbuda and St. Kitts and Nevis, 2 of the best. I'll tell you why I like St. Kitts. There's no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. The property tax is 0.20% of whatever you're purchasing, with a $29,600 US dollar exclusion before that 0.20% kicks in. It's got free health care if you're a citizen and you're in the hospitals. I say freedom, it's almost totally free. If you're over 62 years old and you're a citizen of St. Kitts, dental care is free if you're at least 60 years old and over in the government clinics. You don't even have this in the U.S., okay? And remember, no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. And these other free social programs are free. Now, how do they do it? Well, one thing is they do have an army here, but they're just not wars every year like the U.S. is. And that's coming out of your money and taxes, okay? So, and you can get the passport here as quick as around 4 to 8 months. And this is the neat thing about St. Kitts and Nevis. And you got to remember, too, they don't have a forced military. They don't have, think about this, the military, I would be putting that near the top of your list, because if you go to a country and you got children, you got grandchildren that are coming about, and that country has a forced military, then you can run into some real problems. Your kids can lose their lives. It's just all kinds of things that can come up from it. But St. Kitts and Nevis does allow dual citizenship, English speaking. It's got every box checked. I mean, if you're a libertarian, this is a libertarian paradise. Now, it's not perfect. Things are slow here, but it's got a lot of things to offer. And you're looking at, it has more visa-free travel than any of the fast-track programs in the Caribbean. And the one that's next to that is Antigua, which I'll be going through that before the program's over with, either on this part or the second part. Now, these are some things that you want to be looking for. Now, they just lowered the real estate option from $400,000 to $325,000, and their government fee is as low as it was. You're looking at 18 years ago. Okay, 16 to 18 years ago. It was $35,000 back then. Now it's only $25,000 for one person. Now there are some fees on top of this where you get due diligence fees, and I've given you other fees on other videos. I won't go through that today, but this is a real good option. This fits the flag theory. If you look at the flag theory, this is the type of place you want to be looking for. Now you don't even have to live here all the time. You can actually have a company set up in St. Kitts, okay? And then what you can do is you can leave and, but still have your company in St. Kitts. And that's neat. I mean, that's, and you don't even have to file an income tax return if you're assuming that you're not a U.S. citizen, not a U.S. resident, okay? You don't have to file a tax return here, though. And also, if you're a resident in another high tax country like Germany or whatever, you got to have to break your tax for that. Assuming you've done that, okay, and you're not a U.S. citizen or a U.S. resident, you don't even have to file a tax return any place in the world, including St. Kitts, unless you set up a local company in St. Kitts. And then you have to pay like a quarterly tax, and you get exemptions off that. They give you a quarterly exemption, and then you only pay 4% of gross. You want to avoid that, you can actually set up an offshore company like in a place like Samoa. There are other countries too. I've gone through the advantages and disadvantages of those. And you can live, not even have to file a tax return in St. Kitts as long as you don't have a local company. Okay, that's the key there. And assuming that you've done the other things I've mentioned to you just a few minutes ago, okay? So you got to make sure you're doing the right thing from the other countries that you came from, okay? So this is important that you look at that. But $325,000, that's the lowest it's been on the real estate option in about 15, 16 years, okay? So now is really the best time if you're going to go with that option. This is what I'd be looking for. And again, the minimum investment in this, again, is $325,000 on the real estate option. Again, I've mentioned this before, don't go with fractional units. I've mentioned to people before, they're very difficult to resell. That's where you own a fraction of a condo unit, fraction of a hotel. It's not like you're buying stock in a company. It's totally different. You got a stock exchange where you can sell that. This is totally different. It's going to be like AIDS trying to get rid of it. I'm telling you, it's going to be very difficult. And I've told this to people before. It's important that if you buy a unit, that you own the whole unit, okay? Whether it's a condo or a house. Now they also have they've lowered the optional home program in St. Kitts from 600,000 to from 800,000 to 600,000 now. That's where you own the whole house. Also, folks, if you can do us a big favor, we do not monetize this channel. If you can do us a big favor, if you like the videos, give us a thumbs up, and also pass these videos around to your friends. And also, would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below, and don't forget the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here. You'll get new videos automatically. It helps on the algorithm of our channel, and we can get a lot more people to subscribe if you do this. So I would appreciate if you could do that for us. That's the only thing we ask there. Our number 5 is Antigua and Barbuda. Now, Antigua and Barbuda is the only country other than St. Kitts that has no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax in the fast track programs of the Caribbean. Okay, so if you're looking for another country that fits in under the flag ferry, like I said, this is another country you ought to pick. Now, let me tell you some things I don't like about Antigua. Antigua is more expensive than St. Kitts. It's got less visa-free travel than St. Kitts. If you set up a local company in Antigua, the government there requires you to pay Social Security. Okay. Now, why do I hate Social Security so much? Well, you can pay in the system, but not paying it long enough to ever collect. And a lot of countries, if you're coming from another country that you've already qualified for Social Security, a lot of times you have treaties with these different countries. And even if you qualify for Social Security in that other country, okay, whether it be this one or another one, you might not be able to qualify to get the benefits or only a partial of the benefits only because you have qualified in another country already. And if you don't put in enough time or enough, paid in enough, typically in a lot of countries it's 40 quarters, then you won't get anything, okay? And so this is why I like St. Kitts. They don't require Social Security on the owner of the company. They do if the owner brings in employees in. The employees, they would have to fund part of their Social Security, okay? I'm talking about the owner himself would not have to fund it with current laws right now, okay? They like for people to do it, but they don't make them do it, okay? And again, this is for the owner of the company. Any employees would have to fund that. Now, Antigua and Barbuda, you're looking at $300,000 for a property, and you do have to come in for 5 days the first 5 years. That's one thing I don't like. A lot of these fast track programs don't require you to come in at all, okay? Or they'll just do a video over the internet and talk to you, interview you before you come in, okay? But this is a good option if you're trying to pick a fast track. I would look at Antigua and St. Kitts, put them at the top of your options there. They're English speaking. They allow dual citizenship. Again, the taxes are dynamite. No income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. These are the type of things that you want to be looking for, okay? Very few countries in the world are you going to have this. And English speaking, I can tell you, if you can't speak any other language other than English, you need to be looking at these two options. You don't have to live there, but I would be getting the passport in these places. But they are great places to live. Best weather of any place in the world that I've seen. The Eastern Caribbean Union of countries, that's Grenada, and the other ones. The great thing about this too, if you get citizenship in one of these countries in the Eastern Caribbean Union, which is the 5 fast track programs in the Caribbean, and there are a few other ones on top of that, you can go to any of these countries and you can work. So if you get a license, let's say you get citizenship in St. Kitts, and you want to go and live in Grenada, or you want to go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, okay, you can do that. You don't even have to get licensed. You don't have to get a worker's permit. You don't even have to leave the country. When you go in, you can stay as long as you want to stay with, because all those countries, part of the Eastern Caribbean Union, okay, it's like the EU, but they actually have more and better free movement of travel with a lot less regulations. And in some of these countries, no income taxes, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. But then you can go and live in these other countries that have incredible weather. And I think they started this around 2006 or 7, right in there. So these are some really nice benefits that you get from this. And we got a lot of people from Dominica that live in St. Kitts, and they don't. When they come through immigration, man, they can stay as long as they want to stay. Okay, and they could go buy a property and avoid the land alien holder license fee, not applying. They still have to apply for the land alien holder license in certain areas of the country, but they don't have to pay that 10% fee. Okay, and that only is in certain areas of the country if you buy a property. So there's a lot of advantages of getting in with one of these Eastern Caribbean Union countries. And again, the amount on that minimum amount to invest is $300,000. Okay, let's look at Grenada. Grenada is number 6. Now, Grenada, actually, I went there back in the year 2000, and it's a pretty place, but it's too small for me. I could not live there, and they don't have the tax laws that Antigua and St. Kitts do. They do have a local income tax. They used to have, in fact, they still have an E2 treaty with the U.S., but you have to actually live in Grenada for a while before you can actually qualify for that. The reason is a lot of people were getting Grenadian citizenship, so they would automatically qualify for E2 treaty. And then what happened was the laws changed, and now you can't do that. You can do it, but you can't do it right away. You've got to spend some time in Grenada to do that. And the visa-free travel is not as good as Antigua or St. Kitts. Your tax laws are not as good. And I'll be honest with you, the livability, things to do, I just would not move there myself. I went there for a couple of weeks, and that was all I could really take. But it's an option you can look at. You can travel there if you want to and see how you like that. And you're looking at $270,000 for a real estate option for the minimum. So that's something you can look at there and then go from there. Now, number 7 is going to be Vanuatu. Now, let me tell you some things about Vanuatu. You do hear a lot of negative stuff about this, but let me just tell you some positive things about Vanuatu. If you want a fast-track program that's the cheapest and you're not concerned so much with visa-free travel, see, Vanuatu lost all their visa-free travel to the Schengen countries. So they don't really care a rat's butt, if the OECD countries come in, and because they've already lost their visa-free travel to the Schengen countries, and to them, what more can they lose, okay? So they've kept their fees down low. And we do this country too, if you're interested in it. And it's a lot lower than the other fast-track programs of the Caribbean. It doesn't have a good reputation, though, because they had a lot of people, they revoked their passports because they were involved with all kinds of crimes. They weren't even looking at Interpol, and they were bringing people in that were right on Interpol. It was a real problem this country had. But if you're looking for a cheap passport, this is fast-track, okay, that you're not concerned so much with, going to the Schengen countries, and you'd have to look at the countries to see which ones, can you get by with, with this, if this is your only passport. That's why you should be getting multiple passports to begin with. But they do allow dual citizenship. They got real good tax laws. It is a pure tax saving like St. Kitts and Antigua is, okay? And the minimum investment requirement they've got here on property is $200,000. Okay. Now, number 8 is St. Lucia. Now, St. Lucia it's not a pure tax haven like St. Kitts and Antigua and Vanuatu are. It does have better visa-free travel than Dominica or Vanuatu. Vanuatu's got the worst visa-free travel of the ones I mentioned here. It does allow dual citizenship. It's a beautiful country. But if you're looking for a pure tax haven, this is not it, okay? I see some people that get this because maybe it's cheaper than St. Kitts, and then they regret it. And they end up getting another passport like St. Kitts or Antigua. That's just stupid because you have an overlap on so many different countries. Although St. Kitts has more visa-free travel than St. Lucia, there's an overlap on a lot of the countries, and then you end up just wasting the money you put into St. Lucia. Pay a little bit more and go with either St. Kitts or Antigua. That's what I would do. I mean, if I could tell you anything to keep from making mistakes and then having to pay twice for something, do that. That's what you want to be looking at. And St. Lucia, the minimum real estate investment is $300,000. Okay, now the next one is number 9, and that's Greece. Let me tell you the thing I don't like about Greece. Okay, Greece, number 1 is it taxes you heavily on your worldwide income to get this passport. So you're gonna have to live there part of the time to get this passport, and they're gonna heavily tax you. And remember, Greece is what I call a woke country. It's part of the EU, and you're gonna have some issues that come up. I think in the next 5 or 10 years, going and getting an EU passport, because in fact you might have this also with Turkey. But Greece has got, is probably going to come out with citizenship taxation like the U.S. has got, and like France is probably going to come out with. France is in the midst of trying to make a final decision if they want the same sort of system. In fact, I read the tax laws in France dealing with France's taxes are going to be worse. According to what I've read already, they're not going to even have a foreign overseas exclusion like the U.S. has got. They're going to try to hit you on taxes from day one, even if you go on a tax haven. So I've already talked to people that have French nationality, and they're already scared about this thing that's coming out with France. Greece is probably going to have it too. So this is something you need to think about. And so I would be strongly advising that you to stay away from this country totally. Now, you're looking at minimum investment requirement here is 250,000 euros, depending on where you buy. But again, this doesn't come under the flag theory. I would avoid it totally. Number 10 is Spain. Spain's got great visa-free travel, but I think you're going to run the same thing with Spain that you're going to run into with Greece and France. Citizenship-based taxation. And I think you might even see the whole EU come together jointly and come out with this citizenship taxation. Now, I'll tell you something. If they come out with this, folks, you're going to have to remember these people are not dumb, okay? They're not going to, what they're going to do is they'll make it retroactive where it will hit you if you try to get out. So in other words, if they come out with this, for instance, with France, I can guarantee you, let's say they came out within 2 months from now, or let's say in 3 weeks from now, they could go back to the beginning of 2024. They might even go back to 2023, okay? And base it on that. So they're going to hit you with an exit tax, I'll grant you 100%. How big it is, your guess is as good as mine. But I promise you they're going to come out with an exit tax. Avoid Spain. You're going to have to pay taxes on this program to get the passport because you're going to have to live there part of the time, just like you did with Greece, okay? And to me, it's not a good option. They've got great visa-free travel, but you can go to other countries that you can live there, get your income taxes to zero that have good passports. Don't fall in this thing where you get ignorant to the facts that there are other options out there. Avoid Spain like the plague. It's very high in taxes. You want to stay away from it. To me, it's not worth it. I mean, it's totally against the flag theory. Again, you need to look at that. Minimum investment requirement on this is 500,000 euros they've got here. Now, number 11, and this is the last one I'm going to show you here, is Malta. Malta's got, this is probably one of the better ones they've got on here. Let me tell you the problem with Malta. Malta, they've got here, it does have a fast track program, and the fast track program is you're going to be paying over $1 million on it. And it will take you well over a year to get the passport. They're very strict on getting, and that's on the fast track. On the slow track program, you can go in with 300,000 euros. But the problem with this program is and I'm telling you this, I've talked to one of the best lawyers there. You'll have people on the internet that put crap. In fact, I actually talked to this lawyer, and I was telling him about several people I saw on the internet who posted that you could get the passport after 5 years of residency in Malta. And he started laughing. He said, well, who are those people? And I told him, and he says, those people called me on this. And he said, I told them the correct amount. And evidently that was either an old video or whatever. These people get on these videos and they just talk out of their butt, and they're not checking to find out. But in Malta, the residency by investment period is, you're looking at around 18 years before you can apply for the passport. Now, you don't have these language issues right now that any sort of language test you got to pass. But the thing is the fact you've got 18 years before you can apply for this passport. Great passport. It's almost as good as, I think it's right at an Irish passport. And you can almost go everywhere. But you want to wait 18 years before you apply for the passport. That's the thing. And they do have good tax benefits here. They've got a non-dom program where you can't get your taxes all the way down to zero because they have a minimum of 5,000 euros you have to pay per year. So even if you get your taxes zero, they still have a minimum requirement. You pay 5,000 euros a year, but that's not bad when you consider what you're getting from that. But again, if you want the passport, it's going to take you forever to get that passport. Okay. So, I mean, this is something you got to look at there. But again, 300,000 euros is what you're looking at there. That's pretty good. All right, now I'm going to go through the other part on another series at another time. And you can study these countries. But again, look at this before you start wasting a lot of time. And I'll go through 12 through 23 on 12 through 22 on another video. And folks, if you like our video, again, give us a thumbs up. That helps in the algorithm of our channel. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the right of your screen right here. You'll get new videos automatically as they come out. If you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 4 to 8 months, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. And I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.